We are in Bosnia. Behind us there's a river Neretva. We are just swimming in it. It's super fresh, super rejuvenative. And it got me thinking about this truly important topic, I think, for many of us, because it really feels that some people are breaking through and some people are just being left behind, right? Some people are living the matrix, living this program system, which is based in our perception. Like the movie The Matrix, where the Neo was that symbol of our potential. And then the Matrix was this program of false ideas and perception that is kind of keeping you in a certain illusion, so it would feed up of your energy, and it is kind of poisoning you with ideas and thoughts and stories, what you should do and what matters and what's important, only so you would stay in that loop of what some people call the rat race, right? So you would be chasing something that you will never chase, so you would be generating energy with which the matrix can feed itself. And we will recognize, well, it's a being of itself that has its own purpose, its own agenda, and we can't understand its agenda until we get to its level. And once we get to its level, we start serving ourselves and using others. And that is quite an egoistic level of living, right? When we start using others for service to ourselves, which is just the opposite of what divine work is teaching us. To use ourselves for a service of others. And like Dalai Lama said, we're living in a world where things are being loved and people are being used. And the point is that people should be loved and things should be used. And we've turned everything around. And what is happening, some people have recognized that this pattern is actually happening and have decided to embody again this divine law that is teaching us, use yourself for a service to others. And people started stepping out of the game of the matrix. And they said, well, firstly I need to take care of myself. If I want to be in service to others, I need to take care of myself. So what does it mean? I need to be healthy, right? And to be healthy, you need to have a healthy body and a healthy mind. Because healthy mind will generate healthier emotions, and healthier emotions will support healthy body. You need to take care of the right diet that will support health, right? Because in the matrix, everything is artificial, because it understands that you don't care about the quality of food as much as you care about the taste of it. As long as it gives you a sense of good, like this feels good, like when you go into McDonald's and everything feels good. If you don't think about it clearly, it will easily distract you with artificial goodness. But when you step outside of it, you recognize, well, what I care about is the quality of nutrition. And nature understands it. If you give bad food to a dog, dog will not eat it. Dog will smell it and go away. But what we care only about the artificial tastes. As long as you're in the matrix, you care only about what gives you this full sense of goodness, right? So everything in the matrix is false. Everything is so shallow. Everything is just beautiful on the surface. And beneath the surface, there's emptiness, there's nothing. And once you recognize that, you get outside of it and you start searching for the inner wholeness, right? You don't eat food just because it's good. You want to eat it because it's nutritious, and that is wholeness, that's inner wholeness. When you get a fruit and eat it, you experience that inner wholeness. That's why when people start awakening spiritually, they start tapping into an inner wholeness. They start accessing to their inner beingness, to their inner nature, and they start researching it. And it takes us years to recognize what's beneath the surface, what's hiding beneath it, right? Because in the Matrix, you've been living on the surface, and everything was so shallow, and you've been easily exhausted, and you've been easily used by others because you've constantly searching for a certain validation, for a certain approval, just so you could be maintaining that false mask that was kind of allowing you to belong somewhere. But when you step outside of it and you study your inner nature, you recognize you already belong to life. You're alive because you belong to life, and only few people are getting out of it and recognizing they actually already belong to life. Because if you're alive, it's because you belong here. It's because you belong to life. But many people will be left behind here and will keep running that circle. And there's nothing wrong. It's no good and bad. Everything is a part of a bigger game, which is kind of ability to use your own free will to step outside of that constant rushing, right? To step outside of that never-ending chasing, like a dog that is chasing its tail, right? Running in the circle until it gets so tired that it falls down, it gets a good sleep, it wakes up, and it starts chasing its tail once again. That's what many people are doing. And once you recognize that life can be much more beautiful, like, you know, you could be sitting there watching the sunset, go swimming into a river, and you could reflect a little bit, like, what is really important to you. And you could ask yourself, like, what kind of habits should I embody to become a really, really helpful link in the chain of society? Because we are all here a part of this collective that has lost what we call culture. Most of the culture was lost. If we go to visit some big cities and you see those ancient structures, ancient houses, such an artwork, and you sense this ancient energy. But when you see their people, we see they live in poverty, they live in deep sadness. And what happened, at some point, the culture started losing its values, its ethics, its principles. And that's what's happening all around the world. The cultures are being lost, destroyed, because people at some point have stopped following certain ethics, certain values, certain principles. And it made us really vulnerable to a system, to a matrix that is beautiful on the surface, but destructive in its core, in its essence. And what is happening right now, the only wake up, the only journey towards awakening is that each individual discovers his own values towards he or she wants to strive and builds his own sense of what's ethical, what's right, what's righteous, and start building up his or her life around that inner structure that works for him, and he or she has a beautiful vision for others that if it works for me, hopefully it may work for somebody else as well. And if it comes from your soul, if it comes from your center, you know that it's sustainable. Nobody can take it from you. And once you discover it, you've stepped out of this matrix system because you don't need it anymore. You've become completely independent, sustainable. And that is the most valuable thing a person can find in his or herself. And a great awakening is an event that starts happening when more and more and more people start discovering that inner strength, that actually that inner discovery of your personal values, your sense of righteousness, and you start expressing it. When we think about the main pillar, the fundamental pillar of society, it's connectedness. It's an ability to learn from one another. Like, old people can be teachers for young generations, but they can also learn from young generations to refresh their mindsets, to refresh their way of looking at life. And young generations can learn from old generations to adapt their wisdom, their knowingness, but can also teach them how to, how to move refreshingly. Because we have a lot of new ideas that were not in access to older generations. And once we recognize this connection, we notice that we are all here as a part of a great web that is only working properly when it works together, right? And that's where we notice that it's not the point that everybody gets rich or anything. The point is that everybody becomes mentally so wealthy that he or she recognizes that poverty is only a mental state. And poverty is the root of all evil. And people only become evil because of poverty mindset. And money has little to do with it. Because once we recognize that abundance is firstly an ability to live life wholly, fully, that can only be achieved once you recognize your inner wholeness, once you recognize that you're already all that you can be. And you only need to learn to express it, to embody more of it, to put into to practice good habits that can help you to nurture that can help you to flourish in life. Like Aristotle said, that flourishment is the highest form of life, and people who are flourishing are good people. And in order to flourish, you need to practice virtues, you need to practice good habits that can allow you to flourish. And those people will always be valuable in society because they know something that most people don't know. They know how to nurture themselves, how to take care of their bodies, how to take care of their minds, how to take care of this complex emotional system, how to balance the chemistry in the body, the chemistry in the brain. And science is really helpful in this part. The neuroscience can help us so much to understand our moods and mood shifts and overall understanding of how to balance the chemistry, because once we learn to balance the chemistry, we learn to balance our moods. And in some sense, we become alchemists in our own bodies. Like in ancient alchemy, they called their bodies the laboratory, where we are kind of trying different methods and practicing different, let's say, habits that can help us to perfect this wonderful thing, this wonderful creation. Because it is, in its essence, it's already perfect, but because of our free will, we need to freely learn to perfect it through our daily habits, through our ability to structure our days in such a way that our body will work for us, that the reality will work for us, that the nature will actually support us because we are supporting it, because we are collaborating, working together. And few people are actually learning that. And those are the people who are stepping outside of this matrix system, and they've started to living holy. So, my friends, I'm celebrating all of you. Everyone who's doing that, I'm celebrating all of you. But even those who are not doing that, you see, we are all here on our own path of evolution. For some people, the time has come to awaken. For others, the time has come to be in that circle of rushing. So at some point, also those people can learn what is important, right? So we shouldn't judge or compare ourselves with anyone or anything, but should learn to be good examples. Should learn to be good examples, because you never know how many people can awaken because you did something righteous, right? How many people found a way towards the light because of your righteousness? And that is something that is, to me, really noble. So my friends, I hope you found something valuable today. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Have a beautiful day, and till next time, one love. Look at that.